Welcome back, my dear followers, friends, viewers, or welcome if it's the first time that you are watching my YouTube channel, My Paranormal and Mystery TV. A few time ago, I did a documentary where I made you watch videos of the most famous, infamous accidents on the roller coasters and other extreme attractions of some amusement parks. And I also made you watch many of the most haunted places, above all parks in the world, and the explanation of the reason why they are so haunted. This documentary is divided in two parts. In the first part, I'm going to make you watch tragic, horrifying, disturbing videos of accidents happened on the roller coasters or other extreme attractions at amusement theme parks. But the difference is that these videos are more crude and disturbing because they have been caught on camera. There were some tourists that they were filming some attractions, roller coasters in these famous amusement parks, and they happened to record the accident in the moment it was happening. This is the reason why I tell you that these videos are very disturbing, and most of these accidents have been deadly. But I want to stress that with these videos, I don't want to discourage you from going to visit the many amusement theme parks all over the world. No, not at all. I don't discourage you, because I make you a confession. I myself, I am a fan of the most extreme attractions in theme parks, and I did the most extreme roller coasters attractions in all the amusement theme parks I visited, and I will go on these rides. This is the reason why this documentary is not made to discourage people. And I want you to know that I bought this DVD after having done one of the most extreme roller coaster in the world, because it's an inverted roller coaster. And when immediately when I step off this roller coaster, I bought this DVD when there is me on the roller coaster, on the inverted roller coaster, in the so-called 3 circles of death. I was always with my head upside down. So my suggestion is to respect, to follow the rules of the amusement theme parks you are going to visit. And also, I suggest you to go to theme amusement parks that are considered really safe, and that you know that also the operators in the park follow strictly the rules and the protocols of the park, and everything will be okay. In the second part of this documentary, I will show you abandoned amusement parks that many of you don't know that they existed or they still exist. And I'm talking about a park near New York that has been rebaptized Alice in Horrorland, because it's an abandoned park and it's creepy, and it has dark secrets I'm going to reveal you. And another park, always in America, that is not the name of this park. I'm going to show you in 2 minutes. Many people rebaptized this park Silent Hill because it reminds the dark atmosphere of the real location called Silent Hill. And do you know that the magical land of Oz really existed, and it still exists? I immediately tell you, let's watch these videos. Warning! Some images could disturb the sensitivity of the viewers. I start.
So yeah, that. So yes, that is.
This horrifying accident I'm going to show you happened on September 2017 in North Carolina at the Ferris wheel gondola. Watch it.
Watch this hero who was injured while trying to rescue 2 kids. In September 2017 in North Carolina, tragedy struck at a theme park when a Ferris wheel's gondola tipped to the side, putting the lives of a 5-year-old boy and 7-year-old boy at stake. The carnival employee quickly sprang into action to save the kids, only to suffer serious consequences.
Here we are in Ohio, 2017, and unfortunately, a guy who was 18 years old lost his precious life.
7 others critically injured. On July 26, 2017, 18-year-old Tyler Jarrell, who just enlisted in the Marines, went to the Ohio State Fair for a good time. There, Jarrell joined a group of people for a ride on the Fireball, a high-speed pendulum-style ride popular among locals for its excitement and adrenaline. Little did he know that decision would cost him dearly. Manufactured by KMG, a Dutch company, the Fireball ride could accommodate 24 riders at a time and swing them while spinning at great speeds. The Ohio State Fair introduced the ride in 1998, and according to the owner, Amusements of America, it was inspected multiple times before the fair opened. However, while no major issues had been reported, a section of the open-air seating snapped off on that day, sending everyone flying, including Jarrell. Screams quickly filled the air, and chaos broke out following the accident. Luckily, police officers, bystanders, and medical teams quickly rushed to help Jarrell and other injured riders. Jarrell perished on the scene from blunt force trauma. He had serious injuries to his head, trunk, and lower extremities. Also present was Jarrell's girlfriend, who was in critical condition.
Before showing you this other tragedy happened at festival at Chester, I want to tell you that for the other accident I've just made you watch, that pendulum, that attraction fortunately has been shut down for good. And now watch this. The atmosphere that day was perfect, but...
It all happened so fast without warning. The superstar was in full swing, lashing riders into dismembering speeds one moment, and then a deafening metallic snap tore through the air the next minute. The laughter and music died away as everyone on the fairground turned toward the sound. The ride lost a large panel, which ripped off and flew through the air like a deadly missile, sending everyone into screams of terror. It wasn't just one detached panel. Shards of debris flew everywhere as the force of the ride's movement sent shrapnel flying in all directions. The superstar shook violently as the trapped riders screamed in their seats with terror as other festival goers ran for safety, dodging and ducking flying debris. There was so much chaos. Parents tried to save their children from being hurt and pulled them away from the scene. Others ran in fear, trying to save themselves. A horrified attendee filmed the incident, capturing the heart-stopping moment in vivid detail. The video consists of screams and camera shakes. 2 people were caught in the chaos. One student had a concussion and severe whiplash, leaving them with lasting physical and emotional scars. The other person got hit by the debris, but suffered less severe injury. Paramedics hurried through the now gloomy crowd, and they took both injured people to the hospital. The incident was equally a nightmare for those on the ride. They were strapped into their seats and could only pray as the superstar shuddered violently before slowing down and coming to a halt. The pure excitement they had been feeling just a few moments ago was quickly replaced instead by terror and the scary realization that their lives were hanging on by a thread. After the disaster, the festival grounds were totally unrecognizable. The grounds suddenly went from lively to eerie and silent. And all you could hear were sirens and whispers from the people who were still in terror of what had just happened. The area was quickly secured, and Northwest Ambulance Services treated the injured swiftly. The superstar stood as a horribly twisted monument to the horror of that night. looking like a skeleton made of metal and lights.
And now I go on with other horrifying accidents happened and caught on camera.
Ever thought a theme park ride could turn into a nightmare? Some rides went horribly wrong, causing panic, injury, and even death. These insane accidents prove that things can go wrong when you least expect it.
Cars dangling off of the coaster track. Now, 2 of the people on board fell more than 30 feet to the ground below.
From rides with deadly malfunctions to terrifying missteps, these incidents shocked everyone. In this video, we'll reveal the most trebuchet. A trebuchet is a medieval catapult designed to launch large objects over city walls. While it might seem like a powerful weapon, no one would think of using it for launching people, right? Well, in the 1990s, the Dangerous Sports Club in England built a massive trebuchet on a Somerset estate with the goal of launching humans. For just £40, about $140 today, anyone could sign up to be shot 100 feet over the countryside and land on a distant net. It sounds...
In 2002,
the dangers became undeniable. Kostadin Yankov, a student, tried the trebuchet but missed the net entirely and tragically lost his life. After this horrifying accident, the dangerous ride was finally shut down for good. Before perilous plunge. Knott's Berry Farm is known as one of California's top theme parks, but it has also gained a reputation for having a troubling number of accidents. Since the year 1983, more than 16 people have been injured on the park's rides, some fatally. But one of the most shocking incidents occurred on the Perilous Plunge water ride. When it opened in the year 2000, Perilous Plunge was famous for its 115-foot drop, promising to get riders' hearts racing. However, the ride only had a lap bar and a seatbelt to secure riders. This became an issue for larger guests. In the year 2001, a 300-pound rider slipped out of her restraints and fell more than 100 feet into the shallow water below. Tragically, she did not survive. When the boat returned, her lap bar and seatbelt were still locked, leading to confusion about how the restraints failed. The coroner later discovered that the 50-inch seatbelt was too short for the rider, so she had placed it over her legs, causing her to slip out during the plunge. Her family sued the park, and after a brief closure, the ride reopened with safer 4-point restraints to prevent this from happening again. Ist verrückt. Verrückt means crazy or insane in German, and that's exactly what the world's tallest water slide was. Located at Schlitterbahn Park in Kansas City, the Verrückt slide stood a massive 168 feet tall. Riders were launched down a 17-story drop before speeding over a 5-story slope at up to 70 miles per hour. During test runs, it was discovered that if the rafts were overloaded with more than 1,000 pounds, they would fly off the slide. Instead of fixing the design flaws, the park put netting around the slide to catch airborne rafts. Despite concerns, the park was allowed to do its own safety inspections due to generous donations to the state of Kansas. In 2014, the ride opened, with the park determining that rafts should weigh between 400 and 550 pounds for safety. However, this poor decision led to tragedy. In 2016, a 10-year-old boy was ejected from his raft and died, while 2 women in the same raft were badly injured. Investigators found that the weight distribution was uneven, which...
And in all these tragedies I've just made you watch, in this case, the human catapult, a miracle happened. Look at this.
Slingshot and catapult rides have become thrilling attractions for adrenaline junkies, offering a ride like no other. Riders are strapped into a capsule attached to heavy-duty spring cables, and with a press of a button, they're catapulted 450 feet into the air at speeds of up to 100 miles per hour. It's a wild ride for those brave enough to try it. However, things took a scary turn in 2015 when Drew Larson filmed his 13-year-old son preparing for a ride on Mount Olympus Catapult in Wisconsin. Just before launch, one of the cables snapped. The tension released so close to the boy, he was incredibly lucky to escape without harm. The ride applied up to 40 tons of pressure, and had he been just inches to the right, the results could have been tragic. Despite passing inspections, the ride was shut down and removed within 2 days.
And now, the second part of this documentary. Did you know that Fantasy Island was a theme park at Grand Island, New York, near Niagara Falls? And it was closed about in 2020. These amusement parks with many attractions has been rebaptized by some people as Alice in Horrorland. Watch this.
Dude, a huge fish. That's Pinocchio. Look at this. There's a Pinocchio in there. Why does he look angry? Pinocchio, what? What is going on? This is awesome.
This is Alice. Alice, are you in Horrorland?
And Alice. That is awesome. There's like a nice well with even a yellow brick road now leading up, and it's fairly colorful. We have Seth right there. Fantasyland. Now,
how could it happen that such a wonderful theme park was abandoned and so left in ruins? Is there a curse? Watch this.
Industry boomed in the late 1960s because of Disneyland in California being so popular. This was causing a lot of theme parks to be built all around the world with this idea that they were going to top Disney World. Fantasy Island is based off 5 different themed areas: Action Town, Animal Kingdom, Garden of Fables, Indian Village, and Western Town. And the majority of the rides are in Action Town, by the way. And I will say, their big roller coaster looked like it was nice to ride back in the day. Well, maybe just last year. When Fantasy Island was built, it was built just for kids. But a 5-year, $10 million program was launched to try to bring adults to the theme park by adding bigger rides. But that still wasn't enough, and that's why financial difficulties closed this place to shut down in 1980. But then when it reopened up in 1982, that's when they added a water park by 1984 and continued to add water rides ever since. This theme park only has 2 accident reports. One was a worker that got paralyzed while performing a high dive act, and the other guy actually fell out of the Ferris wheel and died. And again, leading all the way up to 2020, this theme park has been sold 4 times and renamed 3 times. And on February 19, 2020, Apex Parks announced that this place was finally closing permanently because less people were attending it. But it is currently in talks with a new owner that they're trying to open this theme park for mid-2021 with a 5-year plan that will include new rides and attractions for 2022. And I really...
What I can tell you is that by now, I don't know if this park has been bought, and because I heard that there are rumors that the Fantasy Island, the so rebaptized Alice in Horrorland, could reopen. What I can tell you for sure is that there are concrete rumors that this park could reopen. So let's watch the next one. Here we are in New Jersey.
The Greek purchased 89 acres of property in Monroe Township. There were two reasons he purchased this land. First, he needed a place to run his landscaping business. And second, to build a facility for special needs children and adults. By 1973, the Greek was inviting organizations throughout the state to spend a day of fun at his facility, a place called Greek's Playland.
Greek's Playland was founded by this man. This man was the Greek man. You must know that his childhood and adolescence was pretty difficult. He was an orphan. Then, fortunately, he was adopted, and he decided to build this park, this amusement park. And think about that more than 50% he gave this money to charity. He was really a beautiful person. He had a very great heart. And this is his story and the story of this mysterious park, now recalled by some people, Silent Hill.
The Greek. First name is Love, and last name is Greek. The Greek. Yeah.
The Greek man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I wanted something where kids can come in, they can go swimming, they can go boating, they can play miniature golf, and they have a maze and have a big tire park where you come in. Just a lot of things where you didn't have things that could go wrong. So it's something that would, you set it up and it'll last forever. And it had to be stuff that would hold up outside. Nothing where you need a mechanic to keep it running. You need something to start it up, yeah. So it was all stuff that they could do themselves. Look at my clothes. 10 years old, cars 8, 9 years old. I have no jewelry. What do I need? My whole life this was my baby, so this can go on forever. I was offered $15 million for this property, 89 acres. Toll Brothers wanted it, Cara Holmes wanted it, they all wanted it.
They made a moat around us, so we can't get across. I mean, unless you want to get wet, we could. It's snowing right now, too. This is actually a perfect time.
Many people call this park Silent Hill, not because of the location Silent Hill, but because of the atmosphere. Look at this.
Yup, it is. It's like a putt-putt, miniature golf. There you go. Dang. Whoa. Alright. Yeah, this is a cool miniature golf area. And he put this whole thing together with his team. Whoa, what is this off the tree? Must have some sort of art. You can't really see what it is anymore. To me, it looks like spider sacks. Oh, God. Definitely a little bridge right here. Water's almost getting frozen right there. There's some sort of carving right there.
it looks like a ghost town. And of course, the atmosphere.
It's cool. Even the lights are kind of still up. I covered it from the other side. So let's get deeper and check this out before we head more up. It's so overgrown now. It's crazy. Ah. All right. Wow. All right. Now this all makes sense. Dang. If you think about it, look how much boats they actually had. I'm assuming the kiddie boats were parked right here, and you would just kind of hop on. Well, you even got their life jackets still here.
That's really wonderful, amazing, enchanting.
Seems like they had another indoor playground right up here. Yo, that's a bunch of bikes stacked up. That is amazing. How do you even do that? It's just, there's nothing to it. It's literally just a bunch of bikes with a pipe shoved through it. Now check this out right here. Another little basketball court. The boat's placed in a really cool spot. We're walking on like that soft, kind of like tar stuff. A lot of weddings. I will say, it's very eerie to see the news article still hanging on this wall back in 2014, and then looking at it now. It's as if like something horrible, well, maybe something did horrible happen. I don't really know, but it is definitely like a movie.
That's creepy wonderful.
Really cool, like haunted house or some sort. But you definitely probably couldn't go inside. They like bulldozed it.
The solution of the mystery.
I think 2 or 3 years ago.
Dang, it's been that long. Yeah, because we've been wondering what the heck's been going on here for so long.
Right.
So who owns it now? Someone who just...
It's his nephew.
Okay,
that's good.
Is he going to rebuild it, or is it...
No.
He's just...
Selling it.
Selling it? Okay.
Aw, man.
So someone already bought it, or they're getting ready?
We're in the process, yeah.
Oh, is it going to be like those properties over there? Like the signs, like they're...
Maybe. We're not sure
Oh,
yet.
no one knows.
Yeah.
Dang, when is it all going to be done?
So, thanks to this courageous guy and his team, this mystery has been solved. Thank you. Odds really exists. Watch this.
Place took those who visited to the Land of Oz. Regularly called a failure and often touted as an abandoned theme park, its story goes a little bit deeper than that. This time we don't have to wind up TikTok to tell us what happened to North Carolina's Emerald City. We just have to follow the slightly abandoned and stolen Yellow Brick Road. The Wonderful Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum took children on an adventure with Dorothy, the Kansas farm girl who gets swept away from their home by a tornado into the magical land of Oz. The book was an instant success, selling out both its first and second editions. Baum had taken inspiration from his own life to create the novel, as well as from the fairy tales of the Brothers Grimm, Hans Christian Andersen, and Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Baum wanted to take his imaginative book and create more from it, and there was no actual evidence found that he had even purchased the island, or one that even resembles the Pedlo name existing in the area. By 1938, the book had sold more than 1 million copies, with many adaptations of The Wonderful Wizard of Oz being made. From Broadway musicals to silent films, none could match the success of the 1939 film, The Wizard of Oz. Park on the mountain, and to design it they would turn to their close friend Jack Pentis, who had worked on various projects at Tweetsie. The Charlotte-based artist, founder of the Carolina Clowns, collector of Mickey Mouse memorabilia, and the man who would later go on to create the concept of soft play equipment, would be perfect for the job. The brothers would take him up the mountain to try and come up with the idea at the top. The windswept trees instantly made him think of one thing, the Wizard of Oz, and then throwing apples at the characters in the movie. Jack was convinced when he saw a natural cave that it could be Oz, and he began planning it on his knees from a childlike perspective. Announced in 1968, the Charlotte artist, along with his associate, Joe Sonderman, would turn the mountaintop into the wonderful land of Oz, a themed outdoor park said to be of the Disneyland caliber, on a much smaller budget, that would not ruin but fit naturally into the surrounding setting. After Pentis suggested using the Oz theme for the park, work on the idea began quickly. The timing of the announcement was somewhat helped by another boost in popularity for The Wizard of Oz, though a somewhat sad one. In 1969, Judy Garland would pass away, bringing the characters and stories of Oz to the forefront of people's minds once again. In early 1970, MGM announced an auction for all of its warehouses of props and costumes, and for the under-construction Wizard of Oz theme park in North Carolina,
Oz.
It didn't lay over the rainbow or take a flying sofa moose to get to reach the land of Oz. Those visiting had a choice of transportation, either the ski lift or a bus which would drive up the mountain roads. When reaching the top, the first area found would be the Oz Museum, containing the movie props that had been purchased. The next stop would be the Judy Garland Memorial Overlook. Judy Garland was originally in talks to attend the park opening before her death. The overlook was dedicated to her. As your visit continued, you could see the Gale Farm, rather than being a shack like in the book, or the painting. Inside, it was filled with antiques. The barn served as a petting zoo where children could interact with farm animals. The sound of roaring winds picked up as visitors were ushered into the storm cellar, a dark maze of noise, music, and blacklight walls. After you experienced the tornado, you came out again into the farmhouse, but this time everything inside was tilted, as if slammed into the ground. The effect was often used in haunted shack-style attractions, but the seamless connection to the storm tunnel gave a unique experience. Outside, visitors caught their first glimpse of the iconic yellow brick road, made of 40,000 bricks, which were specifically made to withstand any temperature. They were yellow glazed so that they never needed painting, and pebbled to prevent slipping. Only one tree, those which inspired the design in the first place, was cut down to make way for the yellow brick road. Holes were cut in many of the buildings to keep existing trees in place. Next, visitors would find themselves in Munchkin Land, full of tiny houses. No munchkins could be found in the area, but on special occasions they would dress up children in the original costumes from the movie which they had purchased. The Dorothys within the park wore red shoes, and able to use the word red slippers as they were created by MGM. In the book, she wore silver shoes. The majority of the time, each group would have a Dorothy join you as your guide down the road. As you progress through the attraction, you would encounter the characters from the book in mini show experiences, often incorporating song and dance. Based on original designs by Jack Pentes, in costumes made by the Brooks Costume Company of New York, they would use chin straps to appear like they were talking to you using pre-recorded voice tracks recorded on tapes. As you continued your journey, you would encounter the Wicked Witch, who was much more comical than the movie version. Eventually, you would find yourself at the Emerald City, filled with the Rainbow Restaurant, gift shops, a 15-minute musical show where you would see the characters together for the first time. Edition of a puppet show. The 1976 season attracted 75,000 visitors. During the next few years, however, under the 5-year contract of RMI, attendance slowly dropped year after year. With the emergence of more and more amusement parks, with bigger and bolder rides appearing throughout the USA, specifically Carowinds, newer and bolder movies hitting the silver screen, and a changing economy with the gas crisis, it was tough for the small little mountain attraction to compete. The 1980 season had its lowest attracted attendance of 60,000 visitors, and it would be announced that the 5-year contract would not be extended and Land of Oz would not reopen. Jack Pentes once again came up with a plan to develop and update the Land of Oz in August of 1980, with new concepts to overhaul the park and bring it up to date with new attractions being added every year through 1987. Due to the estimated $3 million price tag, it was not worth to go ahead with the plan, and the park would be closed instead. The owners began searching for investors to refurbish and reopen the park, with the possibility of it coming back was still hoped for. Little investment had been put into the park since it had been reopened. Areas of it were quite run down, and it would not be cheap to bring it up to scratch and bring people back. At a minimum, $165,000 was required just for essential missed maintenance, after the park had stood basically abandoned for over 9 months. During that time, security had to be increased and buildings were boarded up as many urban explorers tried to gain access to the property. The nature of the area had also taken its toll on the buildings left up in the mountain. Jack Pentes remained sad that his creation was falling apart but damaged form. No investors came and the Land of Oz sat abandoned. After a few years, the balloon ride still stood rusting, and the rebuilt Emerald City was in shambles. The once top tourist attraction in North Carolina was becoming a distant memory. For 5 years, it sat deteriorating. Eventually...
Do you remember this cult movie?
Oh no! It's just a yellow brick. No, Belina, you don't understand. This was the Yellow Brick Road. It leads to the Emerald City.
Soon. Of the Yellow Brick Road and more. One of their first goals was to prevent any further demolition or damage to what was left of Oz. Sections of the park were saved, including the Gale Farmhouse, barn, and some of the Yellow Brick Road. On July 4th, 1991, sections of the park were reopened as part of Beach Mountain's Independence Day celebration, and to celebrate the start of its redevelopment into condo complexes. Visitors could return to Oz, and this time it wouldn't be nearly as terrifying as the movie of that name. And you could visit Dorothy's house, which was then the home of the property owner, to see props from the movie. Luckily, no Wheelers had moved in, and it didn't take an egg to save it.
The park hasn't been completely abandoned. Fortunately, watch this.
Known as Ozzy's began. The Land of Oz Key had been wound back up. What would become the Autumn of Oz event saw 100 to 200 people come together to talk about their memories. Over 1,000 people were attending the now public event. By 2010, over 8,000 people would attend. Each year since, the once thought doomed Land of Oz would open during the autumn for special events, proving the original plan still had merit. And just like Jack Pumpkinhead himself, piece by piece, what remained of Oz was restored. Autumn of Oz once again just finished its successful opening for 2022. Bigger and better than ever, with arts and crafts, live performances, character meet and greets, and while the original Emerald City and Balloon Ride is no more, as the park today celebrates its history, the Wizard of Oz, and more, with private events, tours, and the Autumn of Oz.
The the land of...
Oz never really was abandoned, not completely, and it continues with the same heart it did when it opened, inviting you to take a nostalgic stroll down the yellow brick road. The money made from these events goes directly back into restoring the park. You can even rent out Dorothy's home and explore the park on a private tour. Over the years since, more and more, piece by piece, has returned to Oz. Even what is believed to be the very last balloon ride vehicle from the ride in existence.